At Buckby Motors, we're passionate about cars and driven by a love of motorsport. From the open roads to the rally stages, the same passion fuels everything we do in the business. Born right here in Tasmania, our story has always been about community, locals supporting locals and a passion for performance and adventure. With a lineup of trusted brands like Subaru, Skoda, Mercedes and Renault, we're proud to offer something for every Tasmanian driver. We love our cars, our rally and our community. At Buckby Motors, every car we sell and every event we support is keeping it local, keeping it passionate and keeping Tasmania driving. We're built on passion and we're powered by locals. We get it because we live it. Whether it's your first car, your next car, or the ride that takes you off the beaten track, you'll find it here. Come share the adventure at Buckby Motors.
The northwest coast of Tasmania is both rugged and beautiful in the same breath. A gateway to some amazing wilderness experiences, but also geared for those of us who like rolling off the throttle a little bit too. Nice vineyards, distilleries and more. The city of Burnie has very kindly welcomed us again for the season-ending round of the E-Road Australian Rally Championship. Our live stream coverage continues now of Buckby Motors Rally Tasmania. Greg Rust and Dean Herridge with you. We are on stage 6, about 18 kilometres into the stage, and to be delighted, I should say, to be joined for our commentary, our broadcast of this one, by a guy who's done an amazing job in the Junior World Rally Championship in recent time. Taylor Gill, hello and welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Rusty. Thanks. It's great to be on the live stream and talk some rallying with you.
If I know you, you'll also be a little bit frustrated because you'd be preferring to be a driver. What you can't see, just over our shoulder here, this is a fantastic section of road that we're going to showcase for you. You have wrecked it. There is a telltale mark where I think you've cut it. Also, is that true?
Yeah, we were trying to get in pretty tight on the recce, so, you've got to make the route as short as possible.
All right. Dino, you're looking forward to this. Just state of play, too, from a championship standpoint. Here we are. The schedule on your screens now. We're at the end of what's been an amazing championship, mate.
Oh, you're not wrong. And we spoke before in the first live stream on stage 3 of just how good the roads are here and how much we love the diversity of the championship. And like you said, all ends here. Enduro round, it's all going to be decided on Sunday afternoon.
2 days of action, more than 200 kilometres of competitive. Here's the snapshot of both Saturday and Sunday's offering. And to your point about endurance mode, we get to the very end of the championship, and as usual, there is a little something special on offer too, isn't there?
Yeah, so, of course. The power stage, you've got bonus points on there. Will they become a factor? Maybe, maybe not. But the big thing about it, these loops, we do 4 stages on this first day. Then they went into service, did a 30-minute service, come out and do that repeat. That creates a bit of endurance, 50k loops.
Get your darts out, not for the commentators. That is our spot on the stage right there. So as I say, we're about 18 kilometres in. Just looking at the piece of road behind us, there's a mixture of both bitumen, some gravelly sections. I mean, and you wind your way from a stream or a creek at the bottom up to our point here. Really cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really cool bit of road, and this corner in particular quite difficult with the tarmac, and also you can see already a little bit of mud and leaves being pulled onto the tarmac. So when the cars come through, the corner's going to develop, and probably going to get slower as the cars come through.
All right, Galvanised Insurance Rally Central a short time ago, Service Park. Our good buddy Chris Stubbs has been patrolling Service Park and catching up with a few people. Here's the first of them on the road, Harry Bates.
Harry, nice start to the day, leading this rally in the early stages. Talk us through it.
Yeah, strong start for us. Probably took it a bit conservative because the conditions were tricky, very changeable. This afternoon, it'll be nice to have the knowledge of the roads and go out knowing where the tricky sections are, and the rest of the time we can actually push on a little bit. So, yeah, the pace is maybe not super hot at the front, but I think everyone's, in the same boat, looking for where the slippery sections are and losing a bit of time where there was more grip than you thought. But all in all, good morning.
He's in a happy space at the moment, right? From a championship perspective, may not be in it and would dearly like to be, but I think he can just go for it this weekend, and clearly that's reflected in what we're seeing in results so far.
Well, at the moment out in front, he's saying the pace not hot. I don't think he's entirely pleased or think he's risking everything, and doesn't need to do that. But what he'd be keen to do here is, I've done all the stages, I've done the road sweeping, Now that's out the back. We've done a pass. Now it's game on from that point of view.
We're waiting for the first of the cars to come into shot from our drone there. Just recap for people where we're at from the stages this morning so far.
Well, we'll have a look. So stages so far on the way through the event. I was actually going to skip forward. They've already done a 10-kilometre stage. In actual fact, Scott Petter won that. So as they lead into this one, a 22K stage, 10K stage, won by Scott Petter by nearly 5 seconds to Harry. Hayden just 0.3 back, very close with Lewis only 7/10 away. Rouleau, Dalton, Dow, Gilmore, Rouleau, and Reading round out the top 10. So in an overall sense from that point of view, as we come into this stage before they get in front of us, if I can actually press my buttons on my phone, 7 seconds is the lead Harry has over Hayden. Scott's actually made up a bit of time after that mistake on the bridge that we were on the live stream. He's in third, and what we didn't say was Lewis Bates lost about 20 to 25 seconds on the short stage just running into service. So he's now 30 seconds off the lead.
I think that spin, which we'll talk about a little bit later, happening at the spectator point on SS4. He's a little miffed at that, but beyond that, it's been a pretty reasonable morning. A couple of people have made some changes to their cars, which we'll detail as well, anticipating that the overnight rain we had on Friday, which it's cleared here on Saturday morning now, it should, in theory, make for drier, nice running this afternoon on these roads.
Yeah, exactly. It's, obviously the stages are going to dry out, and especially there was quite a lot of standing water around this morning, but as the cars go through it, it pushes that away, so for sure the conditions should be a little bit more consistent this afternoon.
Can hear in the distance that beautiful sound of the Toyota Gazoo Racing Yaris, so it is on approach. It will weave its way uphill towards us here and then around this amazing right-hander. This directly behind us, as we said before, it's a short section of bitumen, and you've done some bitumen rallying in Europe, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly, and it's not so easy, and especially when the cars are in gravel spec, makes it a bit more tricky as well. What
is that like when you're switching from one surface to the other like that, multiples?
Well, in this particular case, when you've got a gravel setup, it's soft suspension, and you've got the tyre that rolls over on you, so what happens, the car feels really lazy on the tarmac when you want it to be sharp. When you set up just for tarmac, the car's very sharp. As Harry comes into shot now, we can sort of hear him in the background. This is also a difficult right-hander because it tightens up on you. So, they've done 18 Ks, the tyres are warm, everything's tipped up. What does it feel like as you tip it in on the tarmac? Coming to vision now, so it's just coming out towards us into there. So on the gravel and then onto a tightening right-hander, onto the tarmac. Pretty well done. It understeered initially, but he just was patient on it and then throttled out beautifully.
We'll debrief a bit more in a moment. You can see the way the nose pitched down as he was getting it turned in. We'll get a bit of kind of expert analysis on that from Taylor. We want to move to the next of our interviews from Galvanised Insurance Rally Central now. Stubbsy caught up with Hayden Patton.
First of all, the Patton pack that you've brought with you, they're making a lot of noise out there. How much did you see of them and how much do you appreciate them being here?
Oh, it's always awesome to have so many people help us and support us no matter where we've been around the world, and they come across here for the last round and obviously see the Kiwi flags out there waving. Spurs you on, particularly when things are a little bit tough, so no, it's cool.
How tough was it out there? Give us your ideas on this morning and how it went.
Yeah, we're obviously just cruising, keeping it tidy, keeping it in the middle of the road. Conditions are not too bad, obviously some pretty wet, muddy places, but there's a couple of struggles personally, so I just got to battle through those and just make sure we keep it clean.
Good luck.
Cool, thank you.
In the midst of that Patton's pack that are here, and they're very vocal, they're great people, is his grandmother, Esther, 88 years of age. I think she's...
And didn't she trek up the stage on her own as part of the tour?
She is in this, boots and all. She absolutely loves supporting him. He's got more family here than that, I should point out, but I thought that was a lovely story.
It is, and I think actually her back's going better than Hayden's at the moment. A little bit of rumour out there. We saw him laying down and having a few little back issues coming into here. He hasn't talked too much about, but I think he's a little uncomfortable at the moment.
Okay, we'll keep a kind of little watching brief on that for the remainder of the afternoon. The way that car pitched in before the Yaris, what did you make of the way that he tackled the right-hander there?
Yeah, it didn't look too bad. It looked like it was going to understeer a little bit at the start, but you could see the tyres really rolling over, but I think he's given a little jab of the handbrake and then it rotated nicely.
On approach to us now. We go
like he's using a little bit of the road. It's
Yeah.
hard to see on the drone shot. We've only got a small screen, but it just looked like he's using a little bit more road than Harry out wide. Let's see as he comes from us here, because if you do get out in the wide stuff, it can be a little slippy.
And that's different, didn't it?
Yeah. From the word go. We'll talk about that in a second as he powers on through, but that was just an big clip in there, just way more committed on the entry of the corner as a comparison.
It looks like he's turned up the tempo this afternoon, so we'll talk about that in a moment. The next of our competitors that we should see very shortly Back by Petter suspension, has been out for a couple of rounds now. Great to have Scott Petter back with us.
Scott, great to have you back, and some great pace early today. Your reactions to that?
Good. Obviously, the testing's been very good, and we had a good lead-up event. So, the car felt good straight away after a bit of a break. So it was nice to put a stage win or a few stage wins in the first two for sure.
You gave us something to talk about on our live stream, Scott. Can you explain the moment over the bridge?
Just called overly optimistic. I didn't drive with my ears, I drove with my eyes, and the bridge looks dry, but it wasn't, so it was quite slippery, and we had a spin and stalled, and so lost 20 seconds, which is frustrating.
The difference, though, is the way that he has kind of broken that incident down in his mind. In the past, he might have stewed on that. Didn't look like he was doing it in Service Park before.
Absolutely not. Was pleased what he did to that point. Yep, shake that one off. He knows what the mistake was and move on. So, no, everything was pretty good in the Service Park.
Man, that Hyundai was gassed up there before. You had a big smile on your face, didn't you?
Yeah, he was pretty tipped in, so he probably had the entry really nice. A little bit sideways on the exit, so he'd probably aim for a bit of a balance between what he did and Harry did.
Car coming into shot here now. Just quickly, from the tarmac section, there is some debris in parts that's been brought on from competitors from the previous pass, isn't there? Not much, but a little bit to be mindful of.
Yeah, a little bit. You can see already some dust coming up behind the cars when they're going around.
Okay.
And the thing was, we looked at that.
Behind you, what's your reaction to how the pace has been?
Yeah, we had a solid morning until on the last stage we had a spin and I couldn't get reverse. It was very slow speed spin, and I just couldn't get reverse, and we ended up dropping 20 seconds or even 25 seconds. I'm not sure how much we dropped, but yeah, a bit frustrating, but it's a long rally. We'll put that behind us and keep going on this afternoon.
In terms of the car, was there any damage, or has it made any impact for your afternoon?
No, our car's fine. It was a first gear spin, so more just embarrassing because it was in the spectator area. But that's all right. We'll put that behind us and get back into a nice rhythm this afternoon.
Well, Scotty Petter did his right behind us in the live stream, so at least you didn't do that, mate. Good luck this afternoon.
Thank you.
And he's talked about stiffening up perhaps the rear of the car this afternoon in anticipation of what the roads are like.
Actually, a few of them have done that. More talking, not so much chasing grip. The grip's probably better than they anticipated, so they didn't want the car to roll. The car feels a little lazy. Doesn't give you some accurate. He's not the only person in Service Park talking about the difference between traction and getting some confidence around the car being a little stiffer almost from that point of view, which would seem weird normally.
Yeah, exactly, and especially when the roads dry up and the grip starts to come to you more, then you can start to play with a bit of a harder setup.
Okay. So he's on approach here now. Will it be a similar style of attack of the corner to his brother there?
Yeah, because they've been very similar to this point. We've seen almost 3 different lines in attack mode. Let's have a look at Lewis on this one. Lewis. Was much shallow on the entry, so he's come in quite early. He's got a lot of grip in there, but he's sort of pushed it early, so he was much shallower and he did sort of give himself the space on the entry, in my opinion. So.
Next of our competitors should be Alex Rullo, I think, on the road very shortly. We'll bring you to that. You had a little chance to have a dabble in on the roads of Narooma, where the championship will be going to next year. I know it was short-lived, but that's going to be cool to have that event as a part of the ARC next year, isn't it?
Yeah, the roads were really, really cool. So I actually really, really enjoyed it. Obviously our rally was a bit short-lived, but we did the whole recce, and, from what we experienced on the first 2 stages, it'll be a pretty cool event.
Junior World Rally Championship this year. I think most fans would be remiss of us not to ask. It must have been heartbreaking at the end, given the year that you've had. How have you decompressed and debriefed it all?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's at the end of the day.
Now, of course, is 2026. I don't know how much you can share and where you're And
yeah, it's a tricky thing. You know, basically we really need to try BRC2 next year to, you know, I guess put ourselves on.
The live stream coverage doing great things on the international scene. We were talking on the road trip out here. Wasn't all that long ago that he was pre-teens and racing a go-kart here in Tasmania among the likes of Oscar Piastri and others, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's funny to see, you know, the people I raced against and, you know, race at the same time, and now seeing all the different avenues people have taken.
They think you're crazy going into the forest and being committed to rally today, some of these people?
Yeah, they probably do.
No, good stuff, mate. Great to have you. And talk quickly, you did the recce. What's behind that? Just keep your match fit, doing some reconnaissance, that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's nice for me to just, you know, keep myself a little bit match fit, also give my good mate Matt Whitten the experience of doing the recce with me. And
how was he, by the way?
He was not too bad on the
pretty good. There you go.
Whitten family very passionate about rallying, we should say too, from Rally Sport, the website, magazine back in the day. Here we go, Rulo round. That's nice.
Very similar entry to Lewis, but he was a little more committed on that. He just pivoted it on the handbrake. As you say, that's the risk amount up. He was probably very efficient on the way out.
Yeah, for me, he probably looked the most efficient.
So we'll update some times for you in...
We've only got one time so far,
okay.
But from that point of view, the only time we have down for the stage so far is 11:43.6 to Hayden. So obviously he wasn't the first car on the road, so a few little timing issues. We will come back to you as soon as we can on some of that.
Easy. Next of our competitors that should be heading our way is Emma Gilmore, and I think Chris caught up with her a short time ago as well.
Emma, Tasmania, you've been out on the roads now. What's your reaction?
Yeah, it's been good fun. Love the car. It's just getting it dialed in to probably make some changes now at midday service, just so I feel a little bit more comfortable this afternoon. But really enjoying it. You know, Ben and I are having a good time, so it's awesome.
What's impressed you the most about the style here?
The stages are just busy. I think, you know, when you recce them at 60 kilometres an hour, all of a sudden when you're flat out in fifth gear,
I've just had the full experience in that regard because we've come out in a Subaru. Taylor has all of the 1 to 10 basically around the steering wheel. You kind of have gone through that whole process basically for the entire event. Into shot now from the bottom of the South Island from Dunedin, has done things on the world stage with the likes of McLaren.
We had to sort of sharpen out of that one. You see that? There was a guardrail on the inside and had a little bit too much apex, but they tend to steer out of that. That's from the drone shot on our small screen.
Pitching the nose a couple of times there, a couple of stabs at it, if you will.
I feel like she had a couple of goes time. I'm not happy. Nose got in 2 bites at it. I actually think it was a gear up and then had to go down a gear and then sort of got it revved up to go. So she won't be that happy with that corner, but that's all part of the learning.
Let's go to the next of our competitors that should be with us very, very shortly. Terrific to have Richie Dalton back in the ARC.
Richie, great to have you back here in the Australian Rally Championship. Give us an update on your morning and how you found it.
Morning was relatively straightforward, to be honest. We were struggling a bit, maybe for a bit of grip. We're probably, you know, the road conditions are deteriorating further down the field we're getting. But overall, it's been a good morning. It's the last event I've done since this time last year. So we had the notes we found in recce over during the week that we actually upped our notes up the pace a bit. So we feel like we're driving pretty well and committed, but the times aren't there. So we'll make a few changes in service here now and see if we can just find a little bit more grip. We're just struggling a small bit.
Go well this afternoon.
Thank you. Cheers.
He enjoys this event. He enjoys these roads. And probably, I think, at our first live stream this morning was a bit more in the mix than where he felt by the time we got to service.
Yeah, and the thing was, I actually think it'd be interesting to see him on this stage. I think he fell away a bit further on 5 than I thought he might be in sort of that lineup. And he's sort of finding himself... Alex is a little bit too far in front. He's sort of got a little bit of a gap on Emma, so he'll be in a bit of no man's land. And when you do endurance style like that, you sort of got to pick and choose when and how you push and how much fun you're having. But it's fairly I've seen that from Richie before, where he's always sort of chasing the setup a little bit. And because you're not got the same car as some people in the service park, it's hard to sort of compare sometimes.
On approach to us here now, let's see what it's like through the right-hander. Shamrock Motorsport, who you've got a connection with. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it was not too bad. I thought he was a little bit timid on the entry, but then the mid-corner was quite nice, so I don't think it was too bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you actually on that one. Alex was quite efficient on the way because he had the right gear. Emma was in the wrong gear and trying to pitch it around. And just a quick update on some times there. We don't have Scott and Harry's time, but Lewis was only 2.6 off Hayden through there, so that's very close. 15 back to Rouleau, and Emma's about 40 off the pace. There was a couple of seconds per cave to her.
Okay, shortly, Troy Dowell and Bernie Webb. Had a conversation with Bernie Webb in Service Park there before. One of the things that you two might be able to expand on for the audience watching, they were talking in relation to front diff settings and the way they have perhaps erred on the side of making it a little more conservative in the setting to start the day compared to, say, a Harry Bates or a Lewis Bates or what have you. But as he's dialed into the morning, they now feel like they need to adjust that.
I would think from that point of view, a front diff, you're matching grip versus confidence and car movement. So I'm guessing by being a little bit sort of less aggressive on it, that they want the car to feel good to the driver.
Correct.
But you sacrifice a bit of traction. But as you get confident with it and at one with it, you try and ramp up all those things because like it's a constant compromise between grip and speed and confidence in the car. And you know, Taylor, you would know the same thing from driving front wheel drive sometimes that you've done overseas to even the four wheel drive cars.
Yeah, I agree, and you know, especially for Troy's, building the confidence at every rally. It's good for him to start with a more timid setting so the car's not driving him, he can get a handle of it, and then they can step up.
I won't be able to describe it as accurately as you two, but they felt like the way that Lewis and Harry could attack in relation to the settings, the way the back would react in the car and so on, that the front would pitch in a little too much for them. So, but as they crank it up in the afternoon, they perhaps need to get back to maybe something that is a little closer to those other cars.
I agree with Taylor. You need confidence. There's so much on the confidence thing, and very much so because of the kilometres and stuff that Troy's doing, limited in this car. Build his confidence and then bring the car to him is probably a good way to go.
Ripper combination with Bernie Webb alongside. Saw his championship-winning dad in the service park there before. Runs a little wide on the exit.
Actually looked reasonable early and then just got away from him a little bit, like he just was aggressive on the pit corner.
Yeah, and it's hard because he pulled out a couple of stabs at the throttle, so it was pushing him wider and wider, and then he was out in the loose and missing the traction.
To the second of the IntelliSpatial fleet care entries, but instead of the Hyundai that Alex Rouleau was running, Peter Rouleau at the wheel of the Skoda this weekend, and we talked about it a little bit earlier too. Kelly Thomas in the co-driver's seat here.
Yeah, that's a change. That combination I haven't seen before, to be honest. So, I mean, Kelly's come across. She's a good driver in her own right in the state championship. So, I actually want to speak to both of them and see how that's actually going.
She was quietly spoken when we were in Service Park before, but everything was kind of thumbs up and happy. So
that's good. Cause I think it's crazy. I don't know. Can you co-drive at all? I wouldn't sit in the seat, to be honest.
I've never co-driven in a pace-noted rally, so it's something I'd be interested to do, though, which is quite uncommon for a driver.
We had a conversation before with Jackson Long walking back from a story that we'd filmed in Service Park there. He's up for it.
I know.
He said, I think this would be a good thing for me.
They're much braver than me at the end of the day. And to me, someone like Ben Cersei, who's sitting alongside Emma, Steve Glennie, who's sitting alongside Alex, if you can do both roles, it's a massive help as a combination, because there you are talking about with Bernie stuff, like from a setup point of view and how the car should be, you've got someone who knows what you're going through.
So I said to Alex Rouleau exactly that in Service Park before, and he joked with me. He goes, I can tell when Steve's frustrated, like a frustrated driver. He goes, because I get the messages like, right four, like real.
Just get in and go, would you? Yeah, really blunt run. All right, we don't really have too many more updated times. Unfortunately, we're lacking Harry and Scott's. We'll bring them to you as soon as we can to try and sort of update you on the state of play here through the longest stage of the day, the repeat run here, just under 22 Ks. So Peter Rouleau heading towards the net. Scott, he likes driving this. He said it's probably actually a little easier to drive than the Hyundai. Oh, stick hanging out the front. So nice bit of woods right on that right front bumper. It's pierced through. I don't think it's done anything.
Looks like a dog holding a bone, doesn't it?
That's the way it does. So he's obviously cutting the apexes through there, and looks like he's going right, actually.
Okay. We should very shortly see into shot Bodie Reading and Brad Jones. Now, remember, they are tackling Wolf Production Cup, and I think Chris caught up with them at Galvanised Insurance Rally Central a short time ago.
Bodie, of course, talking point of this weekend as you look.
A couple of stages and made things harder than it had to, but yeah, we kind of put it back to how it was at previous rounds for those last two, and just it's not as fast, but it's consistent.
So what are your expectations this afternoon then for the performance?
It should just be business as usual, hopefully. How it's been, just we did try and make it better for this event, just to home event and just have a bit of fun and try and get some good results. But we'll just go back to how it was and just go from there.
Good luck, mate.
Cheers, thanks, Chris.
Those gritty competitors, isn't he? I mean, hands-on more or less in those moments.
I like his comment there. It should be business as usual. Like this is a usual business thing. I will be actually keen. We've been critiquing the Rally 2 cars up to this point and AP4 cars through this corner. In my mind, if you gave me a selection of cars to try and tackle this particular tightening sort of hairpin on tarmac uphill, this is probably the car I wouldn't choose. So I'm interested to see how Bodie actually tackles it, to be fair. So
you can hear the WRX comes into shot now. So it's I think it's a 99 model, isn't it? So it's an older gen car backing from the likes of Les Walkden. When you look at the bonnet of this machine, there are all sorts of mums and dads and friends, you name it, that are blazoned across the bonnet of that car that have helped get it to this point, have supported him.
It's become a bit of a traditional way. I don't know whether you've done the same thing, Taylor, where it's hard to, it's not a big corporate. How do you get some support on board individually? This is a great way to do it. That's the one to try. Oh, no. That was pretty cool.
Awesome entry. What about the exit?
Oh, this is again, just sort of ripped up almost. Yeah, couldn't do any more than that on the way in, to be fair.
I think it's tricky when you've got a standard synchro gearbox where you can't just kind of bang it down again like you could with a sequential.
That's actually a great point. The sequential, he would have known that was starting to drag on it. If you had a sequential, you just punch it down a gear. He has to obviously get on a clutch and change, or even dog box, you just lose that bit of momentum. But you can't actually do much more on the entry and have much more commitment than that, I've got to say.
Next to them, Peterson Motorsport, Aidan Peterson, Mitchell Newton. We saw them briefly in regroup there before too, didn't we? So
well, yeah, and I mean, the speed's been there, but disappointingly had a puncture and broke a wheel and had all sorts of combinations of problems with jacks and bits and pieces. So very frustrating opening stage for them. But since then, we've seen their true pace and things has been local Tasmanians, and we're taking it right up to Bodie at the end of the day. So unfortunately, their story will just sort of drag out, and we've got to sort of keep an eye on the stage times to know actually how good they're going. So. Okay,
so a reminder too, you can stay up to date at the Subaru Results Hub. You can just do that by going to rally.com.au or all across our E-Road Australian Rally Championship social platforms. Lots of updates and stories that have been happening here in Tassie so far this weekend. Just while we're waiting for Aidan and Mitch to come into view here, next year's championship, we did allude to it before. It's going to be very exciting in 2026. Lots of similar venues. We have the addition of Narooma that we talked about with Taylor there before, but we're changing the dates we go to places in some ways, aren't we?
Yeah, you're testing me out a little bit on my memory of the calendar. I think we kick off in Queensland, which is going to be a little bit different, traditional spot for Perth as round 2 as we crisscross, and we head here actually in the cooler months. I think it's going to be late July or from memory, etc., which some people would say that would be worse. I think it is for the chill factor, but probably less rain, they reckon. So we have been here before, and the roads have definitely held up, and they reckon it could be less rain, but super chilly, of course, down in Tassie.
Well done. I think Chris said it before in the commentary this morning to both Adrian and Jill Coppin, an 8-event group. They've done an amazing job this year, really hands-on with this final event as well, and a big year coming up in 2026. Can hear the car on approach.
Drone shot there. It gets narrow. Obviously hard to see on the actual vision of the drone there. Guardrails each side, and they come in. All of them want to take a bit more entry. Let's have a look at Aidan through here.
Oh, gets awkward. I'm not convinced he's not struggling with something there. Is something not quite right? I don't know what happened there.
Part of it, that could be very true from the way through. I think he's gone through. His notes would have said it's a tightening right. He's gone through, and it's probably a little less tight than he thought. Okay. So he's sort of setting himself up. And the fact is, it's so wide. So from what we've seen from everyone else, it was just a little different on the way in. Of course, it's much easier from the outside than the inside when you're dialing up to a tightening right-hander. So. They were having a few little technical issues, I think even through our broadcast here, where people haven't sort of quite picked up on what we've been chatting about, so some bits of it missing. I think including, Taylor, where you're at and what you're sort of planning to do. We'll sort of just sort of recap some of that in regards to sort of, what you're hoping to do or what you're sort of aiming for at the moment for next year.
Yeah, and, we really need to try and be in WRC2 next year, whether that's for a handful of rallies or a full season. But, ultimately that's what we need to do to keep trying to progress our career, but it's just a matter of money.
Europe is the focus. If the window's presented, could you play in the Australian Rally Championship? Would you entertain that idea?
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be opposed to that. It's always great to come back to the ARC, and, it's obviously where I started my rallying career, I suppose. So, yeah, it's great roads, great people, and, it'd be good to be a part of it.
But Europe and the World Championship is the focus, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, we hope
it's about trying to keep momentum
yeah.
going, isn't it? You've been there, you're in and around the right people, you showed your worth already. You can't just give up and sort of go, sit back in Australia. You got to fight the fight, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, even if I can only get a handful of rallies off the ground or a couple of rallies, it's better than nothing, and it keeps my name circling around in Europe, let's say.
Yeah. Next car inbound, Ben Newman. From Buckby Motorsport, and Buckby Motors, as you saw at the very commencement of our live stream coverage, have been amazing in their support of this event with all sorts of vehicles. I had a very funny conversation with Ben before, just around reacquainting himself with rally mode, because he's been in sort of, GT4 sports car racing mode for the bulk of the season. He said there were a couple of near misses and catches. Let's have a look here. But thrilled to be back behind the wheel of a rally car again, loving it.
It's awesome because, like I said, he's done lots of targets and that sort of stuff in the past. And he actually was out quite wide there. He was going to struggle to come back because he was in no man's land for a little bit. But
it is a joy to...
Time now.
Yeah, update us.
Point 2. So would you believe after 11...
You can see from our beautiful pictures, we're in a nice part of the forest. You know what? About just over an hour away, an hour to 90 minutes away, you can find the world-famous Cradle Mountain, a wonderful destination. No matter what time of year, you've got to go and check this place out. I actually did that a number of years ago as a part of Mark Webber's challenge that he used to run down here with all sorts of athletes and people from different walks of life. Great thing that, and he took in, including Cradle Mountain, some beautiful spots of Tasmania.
Oh, it's crazy. I've been lucky enough to do Target Tasmania back in the day, which takes you to all the 4 pockets, and I'm amazed at how rugged the West Coast is and how different it is on the the northeast, and then even down near Hobart and stuff. It's a beautiful place to come.
The team battle, the Buckby Motorsport battle, continues now because Crichton Lewis and Anthony Carr are next. You had a fun little moment with Crichton when he pulled up for regroup there, just around retirement and enjoying life. Did you?
I said it looks like you're actually loving life. I can't work out what I'm feeling my days. I feel busier than when I was actually actively busy in business. But I think Chris might be right before on that first live scene, like potentially 50 years with Buckby Motors.
Amazing.
He's been, so good that he can relax, and this is one of his forms of relaxing, his version of a golf game, I guess you could say. And I did have a funny moment a few years ago. He had a tree fall between him and the car in front, lost the windscreen and all that sort of stuff. There's some great vision back in the archives of him in this exact car a couple of years ago.
I love it. They're different liveries, both Buckby Motorsport backed.
And they'd be basically very similar. I think, in actual fact, Crichton's fallen off the back of that a little bit, which he would expect. He actually would think that Ben should be the one who's sort of setting the times. But just popping some flames on the anti-lag shifts here. Let's have a look. On every shift, a bit of a bang all the way through. And Taylor picked up on it. You had the Eagle rusty ear out for potentially what might have been going on with Aiden's car. As you compare to someone like Bodie, he's dropped a bit more time than we would have expected.
Okay.
So maybe you're onto something.
Oh,
you can claim
it.
I
will not claim that, no.
Yeah. He's in the mix of Ben Newman, who we thought was having a problem. So there you go. Maybe they're both having dramas. We've all picked it on the outside.
Next car should be Tony Sullins and Kaylee Newell, the Australian truck performance entry. He's an intrinsic part of the championship, if you like, particularly around MRF tyres and the control tyre supply for the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, we're talking about how much of a hard time the MRF tyres getting through here. Most of the teams, particularly in these conditions, gone soft. Makes most of them feel like soft gives you a better feel from the car as well. So the fact they're not wearing heavily is a good thing for that.
Little bit of push at the second phase.
I was going to ask, you got more experience lately in those sorts of cars. That's a limited corner for that car, correct?
Yeah, I think, with the front-wheel drive, you can see the understeer on the exit there, which is kind of natural. I mean, I suppose at the entry and the midpoint, I thought he's done quite a nice job.
I agree with you. I don't think you do much more there, to be fair.
Exactly.
So, no, very good job.
Time for another of our service park or galvanised insurance rally central updates. Here's Chris with Jackson Long a short time ago.
Jackson, great to see you, mate. Your morning. It's a fantastic battle that you're part of at the moment.
Yeah, it's really close between Glenn and I. We've had a couple issues with wheels, some rocks out there, but the two stages in the middle are so much fun. We were just having a ball. But yeah, we just need to pick up the pace a little bit, but keep it nice and straight.
Those problems, can you give us any detail, or you want to keep the cards close to your chest there?
Yeah, just need to work on my lines a bit through some of the corners. But yeah, that's all.
Well done, mate. Thanks.
Thanks.
Had telltale down the driver's side, wasn't it? Both the right front and right rear on that car, and they were rocks that I think that he hit as a consequence of that line.
Both rims, but actually took a chunk of the sidewall out. So
oh, wow.
You take that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not ideal because that tyre's now done and there's a couple of bent rims, but you don't want to punch it. As a driver, you can put up with that, and even the thing being out of alignment, just don't get a puncher where you're going to drop time. That's the big thing. So we got an update with Scott Petter's time coming through here. He now is the stage winner of this stage, beating Hayden by 2.4. So in overall, as we go in after stage 6, it's Harry 6.9 ahead of Hayden Patton, and now Scott Petter
up to third.
Just 2.2 seconds behind Hayden Patton. So he's on a comeback charge, Scott Petter.
The telltale part of that, he moves ahead of Lewis Bates in the process of doing that, doesn't he?
Well, he was in the service, in actual fact,
Yes.
of the Lewis's time loss, so he was third coming in. So that one there.
Okay.
You're allowed that one, Rusty, because I just had Taylor tell me that he hasn't driven a front-wheel drive car. I've been referencing it the whole time, so clearly I know what I'm talking about.
We're going well here.
Yeah,
This is a relaxed conversation. This is what we want. This is what we want.
Young guy, he's full drive. He doesn't even know what a front-wheel drive car is. That's a pretty fair effort from a production WRX, I would have thought.
Not too bad when you consider that the differential.
Front, yes, it's got a planar diff in the rear, but they say it's full synchro. It's got a standard gearbox in that, shifter, clutches needed, etc. So that's a pretty good job through there.
That young driver, that combination had been very impressive in 2025. Let's go to the guys they've been battling with today. It's been a close battle too. Here's Glenn Brinkman.
Glenn, outstanding morning. It's a great battle you're having with Jackson. Give us your take from it.
Yeah, a little bit like normal, a little bit slow starting out, but maybe it's a bit of young bull, old bull. So had a bit of a crack in that third stage, not intentionally, but just really suits me. And yeah, I knew when we came out of that third stage, we would have been a pretty good time. So we knew we were 15 seconds on what we did last year, so felt pretty good.
What is it about the car or the roads in particular that you think is suiting your style here for the afternoon?
It takes me a bit to get going because I've swapped from different types of cars. So that first couple of stages, like, oh yeah, you can't do this and you can do that. So yeah, it just takes a bit to get the hang of it. But yeah, they're well suited for these roads, not too rough, plenty of ground clearance. So yeah, it really suits the car.
We're missing the Cosworth, but you're doing well here all the same. So good luck this afternoon.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
I think that variety of machinery is worth recapping now. I mean, Chris alluded to that amazing car that he ran in South Australia. He was in a side-by-side against Stuart Sunraysia. He doesn't mind the variety, does he?
And we had a very wet first day, and I wasn't having much fun in the wet. I can tell you what, I was going, it could be worse. It could be one of those open can ams in the wet weather and the mud that was going on. So I was feeling a little cosy being behind a windscreen, I've got to say. But it just shows that he does a bit of off-road, the passion he has around motorsport. I love his enthusiasm, the amount of rallies he does. He's been absolutely a big supporter of the WRX Challenge since the get-go because he sees the bigger picture from his point of view about rallying and how important one make series can be to a championship like the ARC.
So let's kind of compare, a direct comparison between both
be doing
the
pretty
longs.
good, I've got to say.
Yeah,
It's a pretty good jump from Jackson through there. So.
Little bit of push in the second phase of the corner.
Pace-wise, not too bad, though. So you come in with enough commitment. It's probably pushed a little wider than Jackson. But if you look at the time gap, if you went from the beginning of the corner to the exit, actually wouldn't be too bad on the scorecard.
Yeah, and the entry was not too bad. Just lost it from a little bit from the mid-corner, but still it was not so bad.
Scott Beckwith is with him for all of the stuff we've been talking about from Sunraysia and more. They're a good combo, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, because Scott's very experienced as well, so that makes them an excellent combination.
Now, before this round, Dean managed to sneak into Hobart and enjoy everything that it has to offer. I'm winding you up there. But it is an amazing stop when you come to Tassie. When you head to the capital, there is everything from the waterfront, all sorts of great food and wine to enjoy.
Salmon
and it's
Grim springs to mind.
only a few hours from us here back down the coast. Beautiful.
I'm changing my flights now. I'm going back via Hobart. We'll spend a day there. Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Taylor, you in?
There's a good party at New Year's in Hobart, so I found that out last
year.
Oh! There you go. You should have referenced Taylor. He's the one flying in out of Hobart by the looks of it. So.
Next to them is Jaden Glusky, Reece Llewellyn, and we were talking a little bit this morning in the live stream with Chris about the car, Dino, and the work that's gone into, and it's great to have him back.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, I think he's gone. I think mostly mechanical. Even though it was a very big accident, now the car, it was mainly the car and the shell and the K's that was big time damage. I think some of their mechanicals are okay, so they've sourced a very similar car, which is probably a smart move, and to get back behind the wheel in a similar car, be able to attack from there. And I haven't, unfortunately, had a chance to speak to him at the service park to sort of just understand how he's going with it. But so far, it seems to be going quite well, and the car's been solid. That's
a great old saying, get back on the horse ride. I mean, when perhaps that has maybe happened to either of you over time, how long does it take that to get out of your system? Right, I'm back to normal. I'm back to my usual competitive self.
Well, longer for me, I think. I think I was a confidence driver, so I think it takes a little bit. His attitude towards it was that it wouldn't affect him too much, and so far, and we're hearing the revs of the car and things doesn't seem to be doing the same, but I don't know what Taylor's been like. Probably had enough accidents, I'm guessing. But.
Yeah, I think it's quite a mental thing. This year I had my first ever rollover, and then 2 weeks later we won the WRC in Portugal, so I think it depends how strong you are mentally and how you can recruit from that.
You work with someone on that stuff?
Yeah, sports psychologist.
Good stuff. Well done. Okay, so let's have a look here. A little in the catch there. Something just in the shift, maybe not in the right slot or something.
Yeah, because what would have gone, I've gone for a shift. I've shifted to a single box, and then I've probably got caught on the gate, and then you sort of got to give yourself a bit of time to be patient and grab another gear. And then all the things that go in stages, and sometimes it happens in front of us, sometimes it's perfect in front of us.
We want to go to the next of our interviews that we gathered from Galvanized Insurance Rally Central there a short time ago. Here's Chris with Shane Garner.
Shane, it's a massive weekend, the Four-Wheel Drive Classic Cup, the contest against Molly. You've got a big smile on your face. How is it so far?
Oh, my cheeks are hurting from smiling through the stages so much. They are amazing stages. So fast-flowing and just tight and twisty, and the car's so sideways. Never had so much fun in a rally car.
So the car's doing well, you're doing well, the roads are doing well. This afternoon, rinse and repeat?
I hope so, because they were just fantastic. The car just did exactly what it's meant to do. It spent 15 years here in Tasmania. It's
positive mindset around some of that stuff. That's so invaluable, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's super important to your performance as well. Especially one thing we worked hard on this year was to not have a favourite stage versus a stage you don't like very much, because naturally that tends to affect your performance. So you want to have a neutral but positive mindset.
It's the same thing. We, on my notes, we used to have stage descriptions, and you keep on the positive things, not watch this, be careful of this, and all negative stuff. It's positive, what's this stage like?
Now, I may have got this wrong. This is the interloper, isn't it? Because we were reminded earlier today of the adjustments.
Car 25, the local Tasmanian team coming through, so they're tricking us still, mate. We're going to go get it reset on that one.
So, we've gone early, but that's okay there because the adjustment's been made Dino ahead of the event based on?
Well, we had the start list done, and I think they rolled out in number order last night at the promotional start, but obviously consideration by the organiser. There'll be a start order today. We don't have a copy of the start order, but they've obviously chosen to put them up the field. Their seeding and where they should sit on these longer stages, that's where they are. So, yeah.
Little thank you to Teeny Brumby and all of the team from the Burnie Shire Council too. Unreal welcome on the foreshores last night. It was damp and tricky. We had all sorts of entertainment, food vendors, you name it. They put on a great welcome for us. We were hoping it would be the kind of wonderful sunshine that we enjoyed in 2025, but wasn't to be, but it didn't dampen the enthusiasm. They love rallying in these parts, no shortage. I mean, where we are here on the intersection where we're parked to bring you the live stream coverage, there's all sorts of people that have joined us here to take it in.
Oh, there is actually great spectators out here, and they've got a really good spectator point, which will become the power stage tomorrow and stuff like that in the centre of that particular stage. So Zagana's come up through with us. Similar style and age of Bodie's car, and a little aggressive, but very smooth, very tidy.
Yeah, it's back to, I have no doubt that smile he was talking about in that interview before is still as wide this afternoon. So, and lots of reasons for him to be that way. The next of the cars that should be joining us very shortly, Molly Spalding, Matt Dillon. These guys do an excellent job on social media around some of their activity, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I think he's much better breakdancer than most people I've seen, so I've seen a bit of that on the Did you see that when they got the new seats and things like that? But I'm hoping they come through. Unfortunately, my phone's gone to water, but at the end of the day, they were having a gearbox issue rolling into service, and there was a lot of talk about, can we get one? Who's got one? It's a 5-speed, older spec, sort of GC8. Who might have one? So my hope is they've either got something, and that may see them delayed. It'd be a very quick change to try and one source a gearbox and then get it in 30 minutes in that particular exercise. So fingers crossed we hear Molly coming through.
If not, I think based on running order should be Nathan Stokes, should it not, and Ian Wheeler if that's the case. If they're out of sync.
The background feels like, unless the regroups close them up, it's a Subaru of some note coming. We'll soon hope. Hopefully, like I said, for their sake, because like I said, they are a great combination, very good on socials, and they're in it for the last part to try and win that four-wheel drive classic title.
You've been a competitor in the ARC before, but much has changed since you've been away. We feel internally like what Innate Group, what Adrian and Jill are doing is tremendous. Are you watching from overseas in Finland at home? What are you doing?
Yeah, for sure. We're always following really, really closely, and Dan and I both know people that are at the events, so they're always keeping us in the loop too. But it's interesting to follow, and obviously these are people that I used to compete against and compete with, so you always want to keep an eye on what's happening.
Definitely.
That looks like a wagon to me, does it? From the top shot there, of course they've gone for. Let's say it's second, you might have to hold third or something like that, and you just got to keep the momentum going, so you don't go back to first and just try and keep it. And she didn't drive it quite straight on the way in, which makes you think that.
There's a distinct smell here coming.
Tell us what that one is, mate.
What's that? There's that gearbox oil? What is that?
It's not gearbox oil.
Okay.
That's a weird one.
Like an exhaust smell or some description.
Is it?
But anyway, Rusty, he's on it, isn't he?
Okay.
Going back to your pit lane reporting day.
Please join us for Cooking Smells show too tomorrow.
Picking what cars are doing what by the
Exactly.
sound and the smell. So. Well, that's what we've got, though. This is what the beauty of rallying is in a way. We are in the middle of nowhere. The fact that we can even try and stream this live around the world is crazy. But literally, we're on the ground learning as we go.
Absolutely.
That's the beauty of it as well.
Fantastic to have you with us. Wherever you are tuning in right around the world for that matter, you're spoilt for choice from a rally perspective this weekend with the WRC in action. We've got colleagues in New Zealand that have been in touch with the Paddens pack that are here, more than 30 of them supporting Hayden this weekend, obviously with Whangarei on across the ditch in New Zealand as well. So neat in some respects that Emma Gilmore's come and decided to play here.
That was a deliberate call for her to want to go, look, my championship's over there, I want to come and experience the ARC. I mean, it's a great shot in the arm for us that someone wants to bypass their last round of the championship and come and have a go at some amazing roads in what she's seeing to be a very professional and, to your point, well-run series. So that's great for us. And like I said, it's amazing to see the Kiwi supporters come out. It sort of reminds me back when Hayden was doing WRC in the outright Hyundai team, and they're still back there now. We even get messages from people in Belgium and places like that. So,
back end steps around. It's a catch, but only just.
Yeah, he's lucky to not have to pick reverse there.
We're nearly 2 from 2. 2 lives and 2 spins in front of us there. And similar to before, I think thought it was tighter. You've got this note coming through to go, right, whatever your number might be. Tighten, yank the handbrake a little too aggressive. Those sort of rally tyres can easily lock up on tarmac, and just looped it, but caught it in time.
We'll look at taking in vision of one final car for you before we wrap up our live stream coverage here. Don't forget, you can stay up to date right across the night at the conclusion of day one. Rally.com.au, our Subaru results hub is the place to go, or any of our social media platforms. Lots of updates that are happening. Can we get a little, thought, a standout thought for you, day one of Buckby Motors Rally Tasmania?
I was going to go Taylor go first. I still think when we leave here, still a bit to play out. I'm actually pretty impressed with the gain and the time that Scotty's catching back. I think Lewis is probably a little bit too far back, but it's amazing to have 3, very seriously good drivers and teams battling it out, under 10 seconds. I hope that's what it goes into tomorrow. We've got another 2 stages beyond here that we don't have any data on and things, but I think it's been an amazing first day.
Aside of being frustrated driver, what about something that's caught your eye?
Yeah, to be honest, I was going to go down the same sort of theme. I think if Scott can keep this up, it wouldn't surprise me if he finds himself in the top spot by the end of the day. So,
what a recovery.
It's going to be close, but yeah, for sure, what a recovery, and hopefully he can keep it on tomorrow.
Let's keep a lid on that. We don't want to do any commentator stuff.
Yeah, we've already done that once, but I think the point is, I love the fact, what Hayden also brings is we feel like we know the pace of Scott and Harry and Lewis and those sorts of people. But to bring Hayden, who is a multi champion in both the European and several times New Zealand champion, and to win around the World Championship shows his class. So to come in here and have our teams and drivers be competitive against him is great. And no doubt he's got the championship in the back of his mind, and I understand that, but I still think it's a great thing for our series in sport.
Now, the last of the cars that we should be bringing you, we may have left the live stream, I think, before this competitor came into shot, before Andy Van Can.
Yeah, I love the fact that Andy came and joined us. Would you believe this deal was done at the dais in South Australia? It was either going to go back to West Australia and do his final round of the state championship, or come and bring your WRX across and do Tasmania. We sold him the dream. I saw him at the service park, and he's a former state champion co-driver back in WA. His wife Trish come along, so he's never been to Tasmania before, let alone drive on the road. I think his wife Trish has been, so they've been on a little mini holiday.
Nice.
Selling that part of the dream, and now he's out there competing, doing some fantastic roads, and it's all about the smiles for him. Now, would you believe his co-driver, Catherine Slayman, could win the WRX Challenge Championship because of the fact that Scott Beckwith wasn't with Brinkman in Perth? So there's a little bit to play for these guys. Literally, if Andy, which he's very, very good at, gets to the end of this round without unscathed, she'll be the champion co-driver, which is pretty amazing.
One of the many championships that we need to wrap up before the conclusion of things tomorrow. I should say to Tom and all the team from Wolf as well, working online facility, a little apology before too. I said in our previous live stream, Wolfbrook, that is a throwback to last week's GT series, a different sponsor, not the crew that very kindly support our production cup. But we have the different classes that will update for you across the day. We've given you a pretty much a nice look at day one. It's been great, hasn't it?
It has been good, and like you say, I think the thing for us is the beauty about rallying is the storylines beneath it all as well, with the classes and the championships that are still up for grabs. And there was a social media post of some of the people who are still in contention, that sort of stuff, and rallying being the way, and only too well, mate, until that final, cross the finish line, anything can happen.
Well done to both of you, and thank you for joining us today and offering some insights. It's been absolutely brilliant. A great Australian doing some fantastic things on the world stage. Lots more updates to come on socials. We're not done on day one, but we are done from a live stream perspective. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you tomorrow for the final day of competition in the E-Road Australian Rally Championship. Bye for now.